everyone, and welcome to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And for the first time in 2025, it is match day in the 505 as New Mexico United welcome their good friends from down south, El Paso Locomotive FC, to the lab. My name is Tyler Ortega. I'm joined today by Coach Heather Dyke. And Heather, simply put, these two, when they get together, never fail to let us down.
You can already feel the electricity in the air. And not only is it the first game for Coach Sanchez here in New Mexico, but also a huge rivalry game. So I'm excited. You can tell the fans are excited. It's going to be a great one. It
is going to be indeed. Let's go ahead and jump into the action here today with our players to watch, brought to you by Toyota. And we're going to start off first here with...
At Blake's, we're proud to call our food fresh. We think every burger should be cooked to order and fresh off the grill. This patty's big, blockbuster big, and 100% Angus beef. Now, the finishing touch. This is a superior meat to bun ratio for the best burgers your mouth's ever tasted. Blake's Fresh Take is worth the wait.
Robert reading for Victor, and action.
Mary, I love you more than anything, but this student debt, it's like a weight I can't shake. I'm drowning.
Now you're angry. Go.
But this student debt, it's like a weight I can't shake. I'm drowning.
You're full of sorrow.
I'm drowning.
And cut. Great. We'll be in touch.
Good thing I went to C&M.
How about Mary?
The 18th edition of the Derby del Camino Real, moments away here at the lab. Tyler Ortega alongside Heather Dyke. Let's go ahead and have a look at our starting lineups, brought to you by New Mexico Orthopedics. Starting first with the black and yellow here, Coach, you're going to see Luis Fernando, the Brazilian, making his first start in black and yellow. Also doing that here today, you've got the newly acquired Ousmane Jabang in the midfield and Jalen Lindsay in the back line, all three getting their first starts for the club today.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest parts about the beginning of the year is that the coaches get to experiment a little bit with lineups and formations, and obviously when you add players of that caliber, it's an exciting thing for a team, and you know, it takes a little while to build the chemistry and to get them going together, but it's going to be fun to watch them today.
And now for El Paso, as we take a look at their starting lineup, we're going to see a back three here today from Wilmer Cabrera. You've got Alfaro, Ortiz, Romero getting the start here in place of Acque, who's on the bench. And up top, as we mentioned, Amando Moreno coming off that brace last weekend, and Beto Avila, who has scored in each of the past two matches in all competitions. So that is a look at the black and yellow as kickoff here today. Brought to you by Bank of America. And that is the first time that we're seeing the Meow Wolf glitched kids here on the pitch for New Mexico United as they look to build off of the incredible home season they had here last year, Coach, where they picked up 11 wins. They only dropped 4 and drew twice.
Yeah, it's what you want. You want for people to think that you're good. You want to have expectations. You know the players want that. You bring in a new coaching staff who did really well the season before, and it's what you want. You want excitement, and you want a team and a city that believes that they can win it all, and I think New Mexico does.
New Mexico looking to build off that run to the Western Conference final last year, where they were beaten right here on this pitch by the man that now manages the club, Dennis Sanchez. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. New Mexico in black, El Paso in blue, and the Derby del Camino Real is underway. And immediately you're going to see Ousmane Jabang, the Georgian native, was just acquired from Montreal of MLS earlier this week, Coach. About 4 days ago, he was announced by the club getting the start here today.
He's a player that I'm really fascinated to watch. I mean, he's played a couple different positions for different teams, but everywhere he goes, he's impactful. And to see him sit in the 6 and playmaking there, especially with his physical ability, I mean, it's going to be a fun player to watch for New Mexico United fans.
There's Jalen Lindsay. Lindsay, the former Charlotte FC man. He's just added to this roster a few weeks ago, right before the season started. Kwele Akale. Captain Kalen Ryden back from suspension as he missed the last match due to a red card that he picked up out at Heart Health Park in Sacramento in the opening week. Ryden today making his 129th league appearance for New Mexico. Of course, having joined the club in its second year back in 2020. Here's his co-captain this season, Talon Maples. Going for a little bit of an adventure there, Talon.
They give you the space and you start to go, and then if nobody's coming, you start to get a little higher than I think you want to be sometimes. But Talon may have been a little excited there.
And that's the man we were just speaking about, the new head coach for New Mexico United, Dennis Sanchez. As he led Las Vegas Lights past New Mexico last season. As down goes. So was that? Yeah, it was Diaz over on that far side. As we take a look at Wilmer Cabrera, he's no stranger to coaching here in Albuquerque against the black and yellow. The veteran has managed a couple of sides in the championship. Poking this ball forward as the flag stays down here for Avila as he plays this ball back into the box. Unfortunately for him, connects with Sergio Rivas. The Albuquerque native back for another season with his hometown club. So first time we see this starting lineup combination for the black and yellow. So looks like they're just taking a little bit of time to figure things out here early on.
Yeah, you can't know how someone's going to play until you've played with them for a little bit, and you build that camaraderie and that relationship. And I think you'll see a filling out period here for some of the new players.
Naples looking to pick this one over the top. It's claimed by Sebastian Mora. Mora getting his first start of the season here today. Jamali Waite, the normal starting keeper for Locomotive, out on international duty with the Reggae Boys. New Mexico dealing with some international duty loss as well. No Zico Bailey here today as he's out with the Philippines. Moreno looking to play a little give and go there with Gabby Torres. Instead, here comes New Mexico. Vargas with the turnover, and Jabang called for the foul.
Yeah, it looks like he came in just a little bit late there.
So while we've got a moment, we can take a look at our keys to the match. These are brought to you by the Somos Unidos Foundation. Positive outcomes for all New Mexicans, and for New Mexico, home field advantage, utilizing the crowd to their favor. Score first and hope to lock down Armando Moreno. That is much easier said than done, Coach.
It's much easier said than done, and New Mexico fans know that firsthand. He's a special player, and when he gets the ball at his feet, he has his nose for goal, and he creates some pretty fantastic chances for himself and those around him. He's an outstanding player.
Here's Lindsay pushing forward, lays it off to the Brazilian Fernando. It's the new number 9 for New Mexico, as they're hoping for better fortunes from their number 9 this year. As you recall, last season Abu Danladi had the shirt and just couldn't really get it going, struggled through injury. And speaking of injury, let's take a look at our injury report. Brought to you by Ben Sherman Law, injured at work. Ben Sherman can help. Dayon Harris still working his way back from the knee injury he sustained during last season. Luis Fernando noted the first Brazilian in club history. It's like 7 years.
It's an exciting thing. I mean, I think when you talk about Brazilian players, you talk about this technical ability and their 1v1 ability, and certainly when you watch highlights of him, it's something he can bring that I think this team needs, a 1v1 player that can isolate on the wings and create chances for others in the box, and hopefully he'll bring that to the team.
That ball cut out by Calvillo in the midfield. New Mexico looking to keep probing. Turnover here. Locomotive looking to get out in transition, and look like two players occupying the same space. Get up, says the official. Vargas pushing forward. The Salvadorian international Marlon Vargas. That shot blocked, but play is going to be stopped now for a head injury over near Alex Tambakis. That's going to give us time for this 5:29 game update. It's brought to you by the Education Plan, New Mexico state-sponsored 529 plan. Give your kids a better and brighter future. Learn more at theeducationplan.com. So, it's Avila that was down. We'll get another look here on this TLC replay as Ryden went through. A little bit of contact there, indeed.
There was some contact there, and you didn't see it on the original play, but on the replay you can see where that, potentially a foul miss there.
So off the restart, Cabrera with the touch, but he's flagged for offside. So a tale of two seasons last year for these two clubs. El Paso missed the postseason, finished on 32 points. Meanwhile, New Mexico finished with the best ever point total in their history, 59 points. Made it all the way. Picked up their first home win, Coach. Got to the Western Conference semis.
Yeah, and you know it's something that El Paso's going to want to switch. They're a club that's been so successful and have such pride in their team, and they're going to want to come back this season and make a statement.
Lindsay does well to win the corner. This will be the first Topo Chico Hard Seltzer corner kick of the day. Hello, crisp, refreshing taste. Hello, Topo Chico Hard Seltzer.
You can already see El Paso keeping their eyes on Jabang here. I mean, he's been such a weapon on set pieces for New Mexico, or for all the teams he's been on previously. I wonder if he won't be the target here.
The 23-year-old Usman Jabang. Here's Vargas. Vargas so shifty when he's on the ball. Plays this one, and he was looking for Jabang there at the back post.
If you want an assist, that's probably a good person to look for. He's going to get on the end of crosses, and I think that will be really fun to see as the season progresses and they start to find a little bit more of a connection.
Usman Jabang officially listed at 6'2". Let's a look at our officials. Gerald Flores running the action here today. The only person taller than Usman Jabang for New Mexico United, Alex Tambakis. So, fair point there, Coach. Is Moreno now looking to counter. Heavy touch from Avila, sees possession. Go back to New Mexico. Now Mukwele Akale looking to turn it up, but just not on the same page there with Sergio Rivas.
No, but every time he touches the ball, there's just a little bit of lightning to it. Like, you can feel the energy, and he plays with such speed that you can hear the crowd just on his first touch. They get excited.
Mukwele Akale last season made 33 appearances in his first year in black and yellow. Led the club in assists with 5, and also in chances created with 47. So, as you said, the crowd knows fireworks can happen at any time. And also the set piece, the dangerousness that he brings there, as he scored from direct free kicks 3 times last season. Got some score updates here for you from around the league. Detroit up on Legion early in that second half, and Louisville City leading Loudon early in the second half as well. Fans, we'd love to let you know that the USL on CBS kicks off on April 6th with two former USL Championship title winners battling it out. Join us Sunday, April 6th, as undefeated San Antonio FC take on Western Conference rival Phoenix Rising FC. That match kicks off 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Throw in here for the visitors. So fans of both sides will likely remember the last time these two teams met here on this pitch. Armando Moreno converted a penalty in the 87th minute to put Locomotive up 2-1. That was followed by 2 New Mexico United goals. 2 minutes later, Jacobo Reyes tied things up, and then 2 minutes after that, Nicky Hernandez in second half stoppage time added the winner for the black and yellow as they did the double over their rivals from the borderlands last season, beating them 3-2 here and then 2-1 down at Southwest University Park later on.
Those are the games that create rivalries. The ones where you think that you have a solid win, the other team comes back and ties it, and somehow you figure out a way to win. And that's what rivalry is made of. It's players finding passion and something inside themselves that doesn't have a whole lot to do with soccer, just the wantingness to win. And that's why these two clubs have such a great rivalry. Games like that.
In the 18th edition of this derby, New Mexico with 6 wins, 5 losses, 6 draws, and so it's just about as even as you can get there. Look at conditions here today in Albuquerque. I'm not kidding when I say this. It is an absolutely gorgeous day.
It is a gorgeous day. Perfect weather for opening game.
A little bit of contact there off the header with Diaz. Lindsay not afraid to get physical in the air. Jalen Lindsay has notched 90 MLS appearances since 2018 between Sporting Kansas City and Charlotte FC. He's been a second half sub in each of the first 2 matches so far for Dennis Sanchez. Getting the nod here today is no Chris Gloucester in the 18 for the black and yellow.
I think for these players, everyone on the field right now, whether you're on because of international duty or it's your first starter, you're new to a team, I mean, this is really early in a really long season. So it's just a chance for coaches and for players to step out and prove themselves. And I think you'll see that energy from some of the players that, this is their first opportunity with either club.
And you sprinkle in the added fact of the rivalry as well. And the atmosphere that we've got here today. We're expecting a crowd of upwards of over 10,000 here for the 2025 New Mexico United home opener. Fernando able to get ahead on that one. Jabang surveying his options. He's looking for Lindsay and just over hits it.
You have to think, too, a player like Jabang is going to find his way, especially since he's played for Dennis Sanchez before. He'll understand tactics and principles, and I think that gives him a little bit of an advantage in finding a rhythm with the team early.
Jabang made 17 appearances for Dennis Sanchez at Las Vegas last season, mostly at center back. That just goes to show his versatility as this ball played forward for Fernando. Fernando looked like off the ricochet. Goes off the Brazilian, and so it'll be a goal kick coming up here for El Paso. So far, New Mexico winning the battle of physicality here through the opening 16 minutes.
Yeah, they are, and you can see, I mean, already El Paso's changed a few different times their build out shape. They're trying to find a way that they can keep the ball, and it seems like they're having to go direct. New Mexico United is solving that pretty well. My guess is they're going to keep trying to find a way to play early because they're giving away those direct balls, and they're going to want to find a different solution to build out.
Ryden looking to find a Kale. And headed away. It's the other Brazilian on the field, Gabi Torres. Here's Rivas. Rivas making his 113th league appearance for his hometown club here today. Ryden goes back to Alex Tambakis. First time we've said his name here today. The USL Championship's all-time saves leader coming into today, 623.
Yeah, he's such a calming presence in the backfield for New Mexico United. I mean, you know he's going to make the saves he needs to make, and you know he's going to make some saves that he shouldn't, and that's exactly what you want from a goalkeeper. And then on top of it, he's very good with his feet, and you can tell his voice is calming for the players in front of him.
Tambakis, a wealth of experience in this league. Coming into today, 19,967 minutes. And so, if my math is correct, here today in the 33rd minute, he will cross the 20,000 minutes played threshold.
It's incredible. Good for him. Well deserved.
There's a Kale. Immediately you see the light blue kits start to converge around Mukwele Akale as soon as he starts picking his head up and looking to make some moves.
Yeah, they don't want him to get a full head of steam, you know, like you don't want that guy running at you with speed. So I think they're trying to prevent that from happening, which is intelligent in their scout.
Slipping and to be a little shaken up there. I believe that was Coronado. Just looking to play a pass forward and lost his footing. The 28-year-old Robert Coronado spent some time with Wilmer Cabrera at RGV back in 2022 and 2023, and before that in 2019 and 2020 as well.
It looked like the ref may have been having a word with Hurst about something. I didn't see it. It looked like a non-contact foul to me, but he definitely could have clipped him.
Off the restart here. Kale able to get a touch on it. Deals with the danger momentarily. Moreno looking to make the turn, but his former teammate Will Seymour shuts that move down. Here's Fernando. It's the Brazilian Fernando. An excellent defense from Locomotive.
Great defense. Fair no call. A good breakaway, though, from New Mexico United. And when you're playing against a team that, you know, can sit in with a back five, when you can catch them in moment of transitions like that when they only have three, it's what you want to do. I'm sure it's going to be something they're going to try to continue to replicate.
There's Calvillo. Is it back to Sebastian Mora? This one goes back from Diaz. Now, if this is your first New Mexico United match, happy to explain what just happened. That is a tradition that takes place here every single match. It's called the Magic Minute. It starts at the 19-minute, 12-second mark. That is to signify when New Mexico was officially recognized as a state, and it'll stop at the 20-minute, 18-second mark, and that is to signify when New Mexico United were founded as a club. So it's something that their supporters do here on the road. I'm sure Locomotive supporters watching back home familiar with the hundreds of New Mexico United fans that make the trip down I-25 every season for that matchup.
You can see El Paso playing a pretty high line here, and you start to wonder if New Mexico United is going to try and identify that space in behind their back five. But that really is a space that's on now. So can you pull a few of those players out, open up space, and then hit a ball in behind the group that doesn't fall into the goalkeeper. But it's a high line. They're tempting them to hit it.
And New Mexico, they've got some speed on the outsides that they can look to play some balls over for. We've seen it already with Makwele Akale. So possession early on in favor of New Mexico, 65% through the opening 23 minutes. Black and yellow looking to add to that here. Vargas lays it off for Lindsay. Maples. Talon Maples, in his second season with the club. Started 33 matches last year. Scored 3 times. He had the most minutes played for an outfield player for Eric Quill. 2,976. That is Mr. Reliable. As the offside flag goes up on Lindsay.
It's not an easy thing to do, to break down a compact block the way that El Paso's playing it. I mean, there needs to be a little bit more movement coming down from the line and see if you can't pull some of those players with you. And then when that happens, can you occupy the space of where you pulled out one of their players? And I actually think there was an opportunity there with Vargas, and it was just a little bit missed. But you can see New Mexico United is now trying to off-balance the opponent that way.
Diaz off the restart. Memo Diaz spent the last 4 seasons at Oakland Roots. This is his second stint down in the borderland. So he was part of the inaugural El Paso squad in 2019 and again in 2020. Mondo Moreno.
Maybe an offside call there?
I think you might be right there, Coach, is Maples looking to direct some traffic and just tempting Fernando here on the near side. So New Mexico last weekend had a flair for the dramatic. It was Will Seymour finding the back of the net miraculously just seconds before the end of second half stoppage time, giving New Mexico a 3-2 win. And Dennis Sanchez victory over his former club out at Cashman Field.
I'm sure that was an emotional one for him. I know he has fond memories of being there, and I think it's always a difficult thing when you go to play your old team. But, of course, you want your new team to win. And, of course, you want to walk away with a win, and it makes you feel like you made a right choice. And I think that was a pretty special moment for the team and for Coach Sanchez.
For Seymour, his second career goal against Las Vegas Lights. The first came a couple of years ago when he tied it up. Last year, actually, he tied it up in the 89th minute, 3-3 for United. And then last week, as we mentioned, 5 minutes into second half stoppage time, scores the winner. 26 minutes gone by here at the Lab. So look at some current scores and some matches coming up here this afternoon. Almost a full slate of USL action for you here today. Thanks for hanging out with us on ESPN Plus, or if you're watching here locally around the state of New Mexico on New Mexico 50. My name's Tyler Ortega, joined today by the University of New Mexico women's soccer head coach Heather Dyke for this 2025 New Mexico United home opener. The black and yellow, they started out hot at home last season, coach. Didn't pick up their first draw or loss until almost July. Fernando
they really made the lab a fortress, and nobody wants to come here, and especially when you have to come and face this crowd and play at this altitude and play the quality that New Mexico United has been putting on the field, and it's exactly what you want. And I think these fans and this organization has put so much time and energy into it that you love to see them reap the rewards, and for people just to hate to play here.
Here's Fernando. Greg Hurst goes down, and he draws the foul. The Scotsman making his 100th USL Championship appearance here today, his 71st in black and yellow. Take another look on this TLC replay. There's Memo Diaz. So you've got Vargas with the right foot, or Akale with the left. It's a dangerous angle for New Mexico here.
Yeah, you can already see a little bit of jockeying for position, and looks like they're trying to run Maples and potentially Jabang off of a kind of a screen here.
And it's Vargas.
Yeah.
And Mora bobbled it initially, able to secure the ball, and New Mexico still looking for the opener.
Still looking for it, but getting closer, and I think you're starting to see it's a chess match, right? Like, you have two very different formations and different styles, and you can start to see Coach Sanchez asking some different things from his players, and same for Locomotive. They're changing build shape, they're looking to attack in different ways and occupy different spaces, and that's the fun part of the game.
You saw from that replay angle there, that was inches away from finding the head of Talon Maples, who made the run there at the front post. It's Dennis Sanchez, he's clearly unhappy.
We're all always unhappy. That's just what coaches do. It's never good enough.
Well, we've got a moment. Love to welcome you to the 2025 USL Kickoff presented by Terminix. Throughout the month of March, the USL will be kicking off across the country. Join us for all the action on ESPN and CBS Sports platforms. "30 minutes gone by here at the lab. Coming into today, New Mexico sitting in 6th place in the Western Conference. El Paso sitting in 9th place. As El Paso, they've just been checking all the rivalry boxes early on. They started off opening the season with a 2-2 draw at home against Switchbacks. Followed that up with a 4-4 draw last weekend against Phoenix Rising, and now traveling up to New Mexico to take on the black and yellow. If you missed that Phoenix match last weekend, I would recommend going back and watching it, not just because it finished 4-4. Some of the goals that were scored in that match, probably contenders for goal of the year. I think you could say there was a couple, including Armando Moreno's bicycle kick, and then the bomb from almost midfield from Mohamed Traore to steal a point on the road late in the second half.
Yeah, and for it being so early in the season, that type of goal, I think those last all the way through the year. They were pretty special. If you don't watch the whole game, go watch the highlights because they were special goals.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
But El Paso looking to tighten things up defensively here today, having conceded 6 goals throughout their first 2 matches.
I think sometimes when you have a team with a lot of personality in the attack, which El Paso does have, sometimes you can get lost in transition and you can give up goals, but you can see they're very dedicated to holding that low block.
And a yellow card shown. I believe it was Coronado. I'll get a confirmation on that. Actually, let's see. I believe, yes, it was Coronado. There you see the cynical challenge there on Ousmane Jabang. You knew exactly what he was doing with that one.
Professional foul. He knew what he was doing. He's willing to take a yellow card there to not give up the breakaway. And a smart decision, truthfully, from him.
First booking of the afternoon. Yellow cards brought to you by Ferguson Law Firm. When you've been fouled, call Ferguson Law Firm, New Mexico's leading personal injury attorneys for over 40 years. Into the 33rd minute we go. It's Ryden. Fernando lays it off for Vargas. Back to Fernando. Maples now. Excuse me, that was Lindsay. Lindsay getting really high up the pitch here.
Yeah, he's getting more and more involved in the attack, and he's kind of playing in that interior corridor, trying to make some, runs from deep, which, if you're playing in a back five, is really difficult to pick up because it's kind of an unmarked man.
No problem there for Kalen Ryden. Ryden really struggled with injuries last year for New Mexico. Just took the field 17 times, starting 13 of those matches. So he looks to get that number up again this year. He's been that Mr. Reliable for the black and yellow in that back line for 6 years now. Coach.
6 years and just...
Fernando! Oh. And Fernando, what a save there from Sebastian Mora as he denies the Brazilian his first goal in black and yellow.
Really good save from the goalkeeper because that was outstanding play to develop kind of numbers up in the area.
And Mora goes down after that one.
He might be holding his hand or his wrist.
Yeah, so it looks like he's grabbing at his left knee.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can get a look at the replay here. What happened is Fernando went through, and it looks like it might have just happened on the slide there. There's no contact whatsoever between the two players. So play will stop here for just a moment, but Coach, 35 minutes in, what have you seen between these two sides so far?
Yeah, I think there's a massive commitment from El Paso to defend. They're sitting in a 5-4-1. They're putting numbers behind the ball. You can see that, it's something they've been working on in the training ground. I mean, they're very committed to their defensive structure right now and not giving up the goals that you mentioned earlier. The key for them will be how do you transition out of it? Because currently, every time they win the ball, they seem to be giving it away. And with the attacking players they have, they're going to want to find a different way to get them on the ball moving forward. And for New Mexico United, how do you break that down? It's a different system to build against. It's a very deep-lying low block. And you're starting to see them building overloads on the width. And I think that's where they're going to find success.
And just a couple of minutes ago, we did make mention of it earlier, but Alex Tambakis has officially crossed the 20,000 minutes played mark. Truly a legend in the USL Championship.
Yeah, he really is. And again, it's not just how good he is as a player, but just you can tell what a good leader he is. You can tell his personality and his demeanor for the team, and he's been a special player and just a stalwart in the back for New Mexico United.
Tambakis made his USL Championship debut back in 2016 with the Charleston Battery. Also spent some time with North Carolina FC, but his longest stint with one club has been right here in black and yellow today, his 123rd league appearance for New Mexico.
You could see in the injury stoppage there, Coach Sanchez had his entire team come over, and it's kind of an opportunity sometimes when you have an injury to adjust things tactically. So we'll see if he's identified something new he wants his team to do coming out of that little break.
Akale with a little stop and go. He draws the foul. And that just goes to show the ability of Makwele Akale. And now another yellow card shown, this time to Alfaro. So the second yellow card issued to El Paso here in just the first half. In fact, second yellow card in the past 6 minutes. As Alfaro, again, just impeding Makwele Akale there. So this is going to be a TLC free kick. Again, it's Akale and Vargas both standing over the ball.
There's no surprise with what New Mexico United is trying to do. They're trying to isolate their two best players in the air and put the ball in their head, and they're getting closer and closer every time here.
Here's Rivas. Sergio Rivas, the Albuquerque native. Rivas has that ball poked away. Rivas, he scored 17 goals since joining the club in 2021. Fernando lays this off for Jabang. Jabang now looking for a cross into the box, but no problem there for Sebastian Mora. Offside flag up on Beto Avila anyway. "40 minutes in, scoreless here in the 5:05. Jabang floats this one out. Seymour, delicate touch, loses possession. Makwele Akale called for the foul. There's Moreno a little bit shaken up. He looks to be all right. I don't think that's exactly what Tony Alfaro was trying to do with that free kick there.
I don't think so. I hope not.
New Mexico find themselves in possession. Paso third once again. Paso able to work their way out of trouble. And Jabang now called for the foul, and Jabang will see yellow. 41st minute yellow card for Usman Jabang. Yellow cards brought to you by Ferguson Law Firm.
Yeah, and a good call by the ref. It was a late hit, and I think Jabang knows that one, so fair call.
Moreno taking a bit of exception to the challenge there. Standing up for his teammate. They're going to float this ball forward for Avila. Excuse me, that was Diaz. His touch intercepted. Hurst heads it forward. Vargas finds Fernando. The Brazilian off to the races. And Fernando drawing some oohs and ahs from the crowd, but eventually run off the ball. Calvillo finds Alfaro. There's Coronado. Moreno now with Maples on his back, and Maples called for the foul. Maples now goes down. Tambakis has to come out and make a save. Maples looks to be a little shaken up there.
Yeah, it looked like he stepped wrong after the play. A really intelligent early ball from El Paso to try and catch New Mexico United out.
I think that really might be the first time Tambakis has to do anything here through the opening 44 minutes, as the majority of the action has been in the midfield and the El Paso third. Vargas splits a double team, still Vargas. Seymour finally. Here's Jabang. Akale is able to get by the initial defender. El Paso happy to reset here. Some miscommunication there with Memo Diaz on the near side. He cut back when the captain Ortiz thought he was going to keep going.
Yeah, and it's been a few times now that there's been kind of unforced errors from El Paso, which you don't expect on the offensive side of it. I think that's going to be something they want to rectify at halftime and clean up a little bit.
As we enter first half stoppage time, 2 minutes added on here at the end of the first half. Stoppage time brought to you by New Mexico Pinon Coffee, celebrating 30 years of great coffee since '94. So maybe a couple more chances here for an opener before the break. Offside flag is up on Fernando.
I think that's what it's going to be, though. It needs to be, Vargas or one of the wide players that has to beat someone 1v1. And you can see El Paso's content to take away the central channel of the field and make New Mexico United beat them out wide. And somebody's going to have to create an overload or 2v1s out there, or an individual bit of brilliance if they're going to find success in the current formation.
Sebastian Mora, he looks to be okay from the fall he took earlier. As El Paso player went down right off the restart. It was Coronado once again. And now Romero taking exception with Greg Hurst, and Calvillo coming over to talk to the Scotsman. And it looks like Calvillo demonstrating to the assistant referee, who's now stepped onto the pitch, that there was an elbow that might have been thrown. So Coronado back up on his feet.
Something happened off the ball for the player to go down, and it looked like Hurst was close. So it'll be interesting to see if it's something that they review, or if one of the AR saw it. I think that's what El Paso's taking exception to a little bit here, was what happened off the ball.
So our center official, Gerald Flores, has a quick word with the Scotsman, and we're back to it. So 45 minutes in the books as New Mexico and El Paso tied scoreless here at the break. Your halftime score presented by First Financial Credit Union. Coach, your thoughts on that first half?
Not the half I was expecting. I think you had two really high-powered offensive groups, and I think it was a little bit more kind of a middle-of-the-field chess match there. So it'll be interesting to see the adjustments both teams make and how they want to come out and get more chances on frame this next half.
Now Backus, 20,000 minutes played in his career. As we step aside, we'll be back on the other side of this with some halftime.
Hey, we've got a saying. Get off your... Show off. Mountain Dew.
Every New Mexican deserves to age with dignity and independence. So New Mexico Aging Services provides connection, resources, and advocacy for aging adults, adults with disabilities, and caregivers across the state. From preventing mistreatment and advocating for rights, to guiding Medicare decisions, to connecting you with meals, transportation, and community, New Mexico Aging Services is by your side. Learn more at aging.nm.gov.
Welcome back here to the lab. Over 10,000 on hand here today to watch the 18th edition of the Derby del Camino Real between New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive FC. We've arrived at the break.
Goals.
Success doesn't come easy. It takes grit, hustle, and relentless effort. Every step forward brings you closer to greatness. This is your moment. Elevate your game. El Jimador, Spiked Bebidas.
And it's a tremendous finish! San Antonio FC! Unreal! And Phoenix Rising!
One of the best ever playing the championship hangs up his boots. King Kenny, Canardo Forbes, joins us on the show this week, Devin.
The Mount Rushmore of midfielders departs the championship, leading in regular season minutes, appearances, and 66 assists. That's first all time in USL Championship history. And hey, who knew you could spend 10 years on Northeast, 7 in Pittsburgh, and not touch a Philly cheesesteak or ground beef?
Locomotive FC here at the break. Your halftime score brought to you by First Financial Credit Union. Let's go ahead and have a look at how we got here with our first half highlights brought to you by Ferguson Law Firm. We're here for you, and we're here to win. And it was a lot of New Mexico attacking that El Paso goal.
A lot of New Mexico attacking, but a lot of possession that I don't really think was going to be as penetrating as much as they want it to be. I mean, New Mexico United wants to create lots of opportunities on goal, and I don't think they'll be happy with how many quality chances they did create.
And Sebastian Morak making his first start here today, coming up with a huge save right there to deny the Brazilian Fernando his first goal in black and yellow.
Some really big saves and some good, order on set pieces to make sure that even though there was a chance, it wasn't an opportunity.
As El Paso doing well so far defensively, as this was another opportunity off of a set piece for New Mexico, but dealt with by the El Paso defenders. And New Mexico, they're going to be looking to capitalize on those set pieces.
They have to. I mean, I think if you define success, if you're the head coach of either team coming in here, you're thinking New Mexico United thinks they have to get a win here. And certainly I think El Paso right now looks like they'd be happy with a draw, or they're going to try and push for a late goal.
As Tambakis did cross the... "45 minutes in the books, 45 minutes to go in the 18th edition of the Derby del Camino Real between El Paso Locomotive FC and New Mexico United. Welcome back to the lab. It is a gorgeous day here in the 505. Tyler Ortega alongside University of New Mexico women's soccer head coach Heather Dyke. And Coach, we didn't see any goals in that first half, but wasn't short of action.
Wasn't short of action, and I can assure you that we're going to see a few more yellow cards because when these guys go into tackles against each other, they go hard, and that's what rivalries are. You want that passion, you want that excitement, and both teams will continue to bring that.
Fireworks each time these teams meet. Nevada's was shown red last time they did battle down at Southwest University Park in the second half. So we've already seen 3 yellow cards issued. Robert Coronado, Tony Alfaro, and Usman Jabang all in the officials' book, as you see Sergio Rivas and Jalen Lindsay having a little word. Is Jalen Lindsay making his first start in black and yellow here today? We saw some interesting things with him late in that first half there, Coach.
Yeah, and I think part of that is, again, kind of adjusting to how the opponent is playing. You don't often see a 5-4-1 where they're sitting that deep, and you started to see Lindsay really kind of attacking not the wide corridor, but the outside corridor, and kind of making these deep-lying runs. And I have a feeling you're going to see a little bit more of that. It seems to be something that New Mexico United is really trying to find on their left side.
Saw a couple of subs coming out late in the half to perhaps get a little bit of a warm-up on. One of them being Daniel Bruce. El Paso Locomotive fans familiar with the England native Daniel Bruce, as he scored the winner for the black and yellow the last time these teams did battle. What was a 2-1 win for New Mexico down in El Paso. So Alex Tambakis looking for his first clean sheet of the season. Notched 8 clean sheets last season in 34 appearances. Had a 1.23 goals against average last year. Calvillo, as El Paso gets us restarted. Here's Moreno. Lays it off. Torres plays the cross in. Followed up there by Moreno, and be a goal kick here for Tambakis. Tambakis, otherwise known as the Greek god of saves.
It's a heck of a nickname.
It's incredible. It's truly incredible. I wish I could say I came up with it. I did not.
I'm sure it's one he doesn't mind.
Tambakis, the Athens, Greece native. Rivas goes down, and Rivas draws the foul.
This is a TLC free kick.
New Mexico just looking to open up and unlock this El Paso defense. It's Fernando being chased back here. Fernando run off the ball. An errant pass going forward for Locomotive, sees possession back to New Mexico. Now looking to pick this one out was, I believe that was Usman Jabang looking for Makwele Akale.
Yeah, and I think he probably hit that ball a little bit further than he wanted to, but New Mexico United's been very good in transition, and if they can get forward before El Paso gets into their low block. And I think it's going to be something that they try to do a little bit quicker this half is, can you get forward, can you exploit that space before they get all the way settled into their organized defense?
Here's Seymour. Seymour making his 84th league appearance for New Mexico. Joined the club back in 2022. Led the team in interceptions in 22 and 23. He's a vital part of that back line alongside Kalen Ryden. Maples finding Akale in the pocket, out to Seymour now. Akale, is that headed away by Romero. Overlap there from Lindsay. Marlon Vargas now. Vargas, the 24-year-old out of Bakersfield, California. Vargas looking for Akale. Chests it. Akale goes down.
Beautiful ball into the box there. You know Akale's going to want that one back.
And now this is Avila off to the races. Avila one-on-one. Huge save from Tambakis. The league's all-time saves leader adds another one to the tally as we get a look. This one huge.
Big save, huge save. When you come off your line like that, you see him taking big, huge shape, and when you have his wingspan and his height, it becomes difficult to beat him on 1v1 situations.
The 24-year-old Roberto Avila scored in the midweek. The U.S. Open Cup scored last weekend as well. Spent last season with Sporting Kansas City 2 in the MLS Next Pro, where he found the back of the net 9 times in just 26 appearances.
It can present a challenge when you're, playing against kind of a low-lying defense. It's not playing high pressure. they can get lulled into it. And I think El Paso caught New Mexico United kind of out of position in a really good early ball in transition, and I would think that would be part of their game plan. If you're going to sit in and you're going to ask the other team to have possession, you want to catch them off balance.
Quarter kick here for El Paso. It's played short. Torres sends it into the box, and that was a big opportunity there. Unmarked, I believe that was Avila. Errant pass goes by Jabang, and now Moreno in space. Moreno! And he just sends it wide as Armando Moreno looking to score against his former club again.
The amount of times that we've seen him score unbelievable goals on that goal, just in a different uniform, and it's large. He doesn't normally miss from there.
The league's current Golden Boot leader, Armando Moreno, is looking for a fourth here in this young season. And New Mexico United fans, as we said, they're no stranger to the ability of the El Salvadorian Armando Moreno. Moreno scored 24 goals in black and yellow in his 4 seasons here in the 505. He joined the club in 2020, departed at the end of the 2023 season. There's Akale looking to track this ball down, and he does, and forces a throw-in.
It's the second time now that you've seen Jabang look for Akale, trying to play a little bit more direct, a little bit earlier. And maybe that'll open up some pockets for New Mexico United to build in the possession. But you have to test that space and break down the defense a little bit. I think it's a smart play.
And we see some action over on at the subs area for New Mexico. Conversely, no action on the El Paso side.
You have to think that El Paso's happy with this. I mean, New Mexico United is defending Western Conference champions.
I think that was Avila once again. Or excuse me, it was Cabrera. So you can tell this crowd just waiting for that moment. Akale. Lindsay now scoops it into the box, was looking for Greg Hurst. Full time in the 2 Eastern Conference matches, and how about that? Loudon able to come back and steal a point against Lou City, 2-2 at full time. And the Detroit City match ends where we saw it earlier at 2-1. Fernando goes down, and Gerald Flores heading over to the spot. This is going to be a free kick for New Mexico, and I believe a yellow card coming out. And this time it's going to go to Ortiz. The 55th minute yellow card for the captain. Get another look here. It was Arturo Ortiz, 32-year-old. Came over from El Paso's sister club, FC Juarez. Made 7 appearances for the Locos last season.
Paso has enough yellow cards, especially with their back 5 here. They're going to start to really need to think about some of these tackles and make sure that they finish the game with all their players in the field.
Here's Vargas. And nobody home at the back post. That opportunity squandered. Been seeing a lot more teams playing out of the back like this over the past really couple seasons.
Yeah, and it's a good thing. I mean, can you disrupt the opponent where you build a space behind them and a commitment to do it instead of just playing direct? I think it makes the game a lot more entertaining. And this league especially, I mean, the USL is so competitive and so many teams that are wanting to play and develop styles now, and I appreciate the commitment to try and do it right.
Avila still in possession. Vargas now on the attack. Vargas has that taken off his feet. Diaz looking to connect with Moreno.
Really good defending there from Maples to slow down that attack and not give up a foul.
Talon Maples, his second season with the club, came over from the Houston Dynamo system. He was with Dynamo 2 in 2022 and 2023. He was the captain of that squad. It's only fitting to see him be chosen as one of the two captains this year alongside Kalen Ryden.
Both those players, I mean, they play with such a confidence, and they're kind of what you want in a center back. Pretty composed and stay tuned into the game, and you can hear them up here communicating. It's special pairing for those two.
Maples, you mentioned most minutes played for an outfield player last season for New Mexico. Had 141 clearances. Coach, that is 77 more than Tony Herbert in second.
Yeah, and you know, you talk a lot about how do you teach defending and how do you teach defending in spaces, especially off crosses and clearances. But some of it is just part of you. You're just kind of born with it. And his timing and the way he arrives and the way he reads crosses, like, he's just so good at what he does.
Jabang able to find Seymour. Seymour finds Hurst. He's got space, and the Scotsman tried to turn but had it poked away by Romero.
The game is starting to open up now, though. I mean, you're starting to see a lot more central penetration in those areas, and New Mexico United's winning a lot of balls off their pressing and getting forward early, and I mean, it's what the fans want for sure, is can we actually open up the game a little bit and create some more opportunities on frame.
Bit of a breeze down there on the pitch. This is a Topo Chico hard seltzer corner kick here from Vargas. Looking back post again. Overhits the crowd, and Greg Hurst flicks it out, and it's going to be a goal kick. Take a look at the stats so far here in the second half. New Mexico still winning the possession battle, but as you mentioned, Coach El Paso content with that.
Yeah, I think they're okay letting him have the ball as long as the ball's not, you know, getting into dangerous areas. And I do think that's changing a little bit now, the momentum, and New Mexico United starting to have some movement that picks that apart. But to me, a lot of it is their build-out tends to be one or two passes and then they give the ball away. And so I think if they can fix that, El Paso is going to have more possession and more opportunity to keep the ball for longer periods of time.
Torres goes back to Romero. Brian Romero, the 22-year-old. The two coming over from the El Paso sister club, FC Juarez. Moreno, flag stays down, plays the cross in, and it's cleared out by Kalen Ryden. So we're hearing there's going to be some subs coming in here for New Mexico, and indeed, we'll see the Brazilian Fernando. He's going to be replaced by Mackenzie Gaines, as Gaines sets foot onto the pitch at the lab for the first time. The new number 10 for New Mexico United, following the departure of Marco Micheletto in the offseason. And you're also going to see Gideon Zalalem on to replace Usman Jabang. Now, if you're a fan of soccer across the pond, you may have heard the name Gideon Zalalem before. Played at Arsenal under Arsene Wenger. Got some playing time there for the first team. In fact, he also has some Champions League experience. He was a halftime sub in a 4-1 win at Galatasaray.
Yeah, not often you get to say that you have Champions League experience, and that's what every player plays for. But I think both these players are going to be an interesting difference in the game. I mean, they both bring something a little bit different than the players they came in for. My guess is Jabang is still adjusting to the altitude a little bit too, so he's probably happy to get that 60-minute breather.
Ousmane Jabang was acquired earlier this week from CF Montreal. And just a quick search of the Google machine tells me, well, let's see, let's just confirm. The elevation in Montreal, Canada is about 764 feet compared to about 5,200 here in Albuquerque. And so certainly an adjustment period necessary. Free kick coming up here for the Locomotive. Seymour loses his footing. Luckily, the header from Torres finds Talon Maples. Fan Select, proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big leagues, Select is there every step of the way. You can visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Vargas finds Rivas, looking for Hurst. And that one's picked out of the air by Sebastian Mora. I think it's safe to say Sebastian Mora will not have any new friends when he leaves the stadium here today. So, something we talked about during the halftime break, Coach, the league announcing Pro Rel is coming here likely within the next couple of years. And not just that, but a new division brought into rival MLS as the top division in America with the USL Division One. Now, what that means for us here in New Mexico, obviously, we don't know just yet. But the prospect of Pro Rel in America, what are your thoughts on that?
And I think as a fan, it's the best part of the English Premier League. I mean, to watch and have every game matter. And I think when you watch some of our pro sports, I mean, you stop watching at the end of the year and you kind of just go, our team's playing for the #1 draft pick now, and you lose interest. But, you know, to know that you could lose your spot in the top league, it just makes every game so much more significant. And I think already the USL has this incredible fan base, and they've done such a good job of investing in communities. I mean, to your point, Oakland getting 25,000 people at a game tonight. But they're ready for it, and I think their decision to do that is just going to make the interest grow.
It's one hopper right into the waiting arms of Alex Tambakis. 65 minutes gone by here at the Lab. Scoreless between New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive FC. Able to connect with Rivas. Rivas was looking to pick out the run of Akale into the box. Instead, Moreno now
New Mexico United this half has come out and they've split their two attacking center midfield players. Their two 10s a little bit wider. And I think they're starting to find Rivas in those spaces, and it's becoming pretty difficult for El Paso to defend. They're trying to occupy the space that is given to them, and I think splitting those 2 10s has proven to be pretty smart so far. Now the final piece of it is, can you get the final pass? Can you have a little bit more accuracy and execution in the box? And if they get that part of it, I think that's where a goal is going to come from.
Here's Moreno. He's walled off, but wins a corner here. So Paso starting to get some opportunities of their own.
They are, and I think with their commitment to defend and with their commitment for the goalkeeper to stall a little bit and waste time, and I mean, I get it, it's a tough place to play. And these are the moments, though, that they have to be going, hey, if we can score off a set piece and we can defend the last little bit of it, we can get a win here.
So look at some of the New Mexico United coaching staff. So they'll redo that one. Moreno, one of only 3 players who have seen action for both New Mexico and El Paso. And there was a great article on the USL Championship website that was put up during the week, and it was with Armando Moreno and how he describes the Derby del Camino Real between these 2 clubs. And he said, in one word, hectic. We try this corner kick once again, headed away. It's going to go all the way back to Mora. Cross. And that one goes out, and it'll be a goal kick for Tambakis. Fan soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Speaking of SeatGeek, hop on and grab your tickets for the next home match, April 12th, New Mexico United hosting North Carolina FC. It's the first time they make the trip out to the 505. Is Tambakis. He's going to be playing against his former club. Here's Gaines. Mackenzie Gaines, one of the fastest men on any pitch he sets foot on.
And I think that mentality is, if you do isolate in that wide channel and you are in a 1v1 situation, get a cross off. Find a way to get to the end line and put a ball in the box, and he gained a corner for his team because of it. You got to love that mentality from players.
Taken quickly. Here's Vargas. Looking back post. Just over the head of Sergio Rivas. So Mackenzie Gaines, in his first season with the club, the Austin, Texas native. Had 15 MLS appearances last season between Nashville and Houston. Played 70 minutes last weekend in Las Vegas. Found the back of the net in the 52nd minute. It was his first goal in black and yellow. Prior to that, the last time he found the back of the net was back on July 5th, 2023, and suited up for Charlotte FC. He scored against NYCFC in the 17th minute at Yankee Stadium.
It's not a bad place to score.
Looking to add another stadium to his list here today as the offside flag goes up there on Avila.
You have to think that the New Mexico United staff is quite happy to be able to come off the bench with a player that's played in the Premier League and a player with the speed of Gaines and some other really talented guys over there. I mean, and that depth, to me, is what makes you successful in the USL. You need a couple special players. You need a great environment. New Mexico United has that. But if you have the depth and you can play all these games and still come off the bench with quality, you know you're going to be in a good situation.
We're hearing news of a couple of El Paso substitutions looming, but before we get to that, it's been over almost 30 minutes since New Mexico have attempted a shot in this match, Coach. The last time they got a shot off was Fernando, that big save that we saw from Mora back in the 34th minute.
Yeah, and I think, again, you have to look and you say, where are we most successful? Where are you finding opportunities? One of them has to be in transition, and the player on the ball deciding when to go forward and when to keep possession. And I think there's times where actually New Mexico United could play a little bit more direct, especially when they win the ball back early. I think if they find those chances, they're going to create a few more opportunities in the box.
El Paso player down. I believe that's Moreno. It is. So TLC free kick coming up here. The El Salvadorians still feeling the effects of that challenge. He's tough. Fans on both sides of this rivalry know that. We'll take another look at what happened here. Just coming together, it looked like. This ball played in and just goes off the roof of the net. Tambakis had that one covered.
Yeah, you're going to have to do something special to beat Tambakis from there. I think they were trying to catch him off his line.
Less than 20 minutes plus stoppage time remain here at the lab. Thank you for joining us on ESPN Plus and around New Mexico on New Mexico 50. It's our first season here on New Mexico 50. Thrilled to be here, and not just here, but around the state of New Mexico as Mora beginning to draw the ire of the 10,000 plus in attendance here today.
So the Premier League's changing the rule next year, right? With the goalkeepers, how long they can hold it. Have you heard about this?
I have not.
I'm speaking a little out of turn. I don't know the exact rules, but they're putting a time limit on it, and they're going to try to eliminate some of this, professional stoppage of play with goalkeepers. And it'd be interesting to see if it's something the USL adopts as well.
Zalalem whistled for the foul there. As Cabrera went down. Sounds like Cabrera, that might be his last action here today.
Okay. In Premier League 2, a trial is taking place to stop the goalkeepers from holding the ball too long. A corner kick is awarded to the opposing team if the goalkeeper holds the ball for longer than 8 seconds.
Wow, okay. You know that. I don't think that's a change that I might be opposed to seeing.
I think I'd be okay with it too. Some of it gets a little bit crazy. Unless it's my team and we have a lead, then I'm totally fine with it.
Paso atop the 18. That ball poked away. Well read there by Lindsay. He's on his horse now. Vargas leading the charge. Lays it off. It's Akale. Vargas gets it back. Marlon Vargas. And the shot is blocked by Tony Alfaro. But that, perhaps one of the best opportunities so far for New Mexico.
Yeah, without question. Those moments of transition when you can catch them out of shape, and I think Vargas, the ball he played to Akale, probably wanted that to lead him a little bit more than it did. It kind of killed the attack just a little bit, especially with the speed Akale has.
And it was all started by the interception made by Jalen Lindsay as Makwele Akale floats this corner in, and he was looking back post. They're going to get a foul called, I believe, against Kalen Ryden as Coronado went down. So we will see a couple of substitutions here for El Paso. So we're going to see Tumi Moshoban, the former San Diego Loyal man. He's coming on to replace Cabrera. Also coming on here for El Paso, it's going to be Frank Lopez, the former Miami FC man last year, played for Wilmer Cabrera at RGV prior to that. So they're on to replace Beto Avila and Wilmer Cabrera. We're going to see another change here for New Mexico now. And so coming on now, it's Jalen Lindsay heading off, and he's going to be replaced by Thomas Pondeca. Pondeca making his debut here at the Lab, and of course, greeted by the loud chorus. It is the club's all-time leader in appearances from Warrington, England, Daniel Bruce.
Every time you hear it, you think it's a boo, and then you're reminded that Bruce is coming on. It's a Bruce, not a boo. He could be an interesting player in the situation. One of the things he does really well is he kind of sits in deeper spaces and then makes running in behind the high target player. And I think that space is there in this game.
Zalalem looking to find Pondeca and just overhits him. So Thomas Pondeca, new to New Mexico United this season. He was acquired on a season-long loan from FC Dallas, who just happened to be coached by Eric Quill, former New Mexico United gaffer. Thomas Pondeca made 3 MLS appearances for FC Dallas last year. Spent the most of the time with their 2 team, however. That's North Texas SC in MLS Next Pro, where he lifted the cup with them last year. Scored 5 times in 20 appearances there. Here's Gaines. Gaines puts this one into the box. It's headed away by Romero. Zalalem. That one snatched by Mora. Moreno now. Lays it off for Torres. Torres plays the cross in. He was looking for Moshoban. And that was just out of reach.
This has been a half where those are starting to get quite dangerous for El Paso, and you have to eliminate it. You can't have all the possession and give up more quality opportunity. And this half, I think they've had the better of it a little bit. But it is interesting now. It looks like Greg Hurst is pushed out a little bit wider for New Mexico United. I think they're going to try and get him on the ball a little bit more and get him out of that central channel where he wasn't finding this ball as much as I'm sure they'd like him to have it.
Looks like Gabby Torres dealing with something down there in the box as he's taking a seat onto the pitch. And while we've got a break, the official attendance number brought to you by New Mexico Mutual, 11,005 on hand here at the Lab today. And we'll say there is a small section of El Paso support that have made the trip up I-25, the 266-mile stretch between these two clubs. And we're back to it here. 80th minute, still scoreless. Tyler Ortega here alongside Heather Dyke in what is the 2025 home opener for the Black and Yellow. We're on the road the first couple of weeks where they made their debut out in Sacramento as a 2-1 loss. And then a dramatic late win last weekend out in the Sin City. So less than 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Fans starting to grow restless. Rivas tried to lay that off, but El Paso give possession back. Here's Rivas looking for Akale again, and again has that ball stolen. That was Lopez looking to spring Amando Moreno forward. Pondeka asking for it here on the near side. Hurst will get it to him. Here's the Dallas, Texas native, Thomas Pondeka. Couple of step overs. Pondeka goes down. Gerald Flores wags his finger. No penalty awarded. And El Paso looking to counter. There you just see the agility of Thomas Pondeka in tight spaces. So special with the ball at his feet.
So special with the ball. You just love that mentality. Like, can you face someone up and actually go at them? And I think especially in this game right now, like if you can switch the point of attack quicker than that central block moves, you're going to have opportunity out wide. But those players need to take it. And that's exactly what Pondeka did there.
Thomas Pondeka, he's made 17 caps for the U.S. men's national futsal team.
That would explain the fancy feet and technical ability. I mean, just really, really good on the ball there. Fun to watch.
Pondeka, he was the 2021 Young Player Award winner at the CONCACAF Futsal Championships. The 23-year-olds. Here's Zalalam. Zalalam today making his 105th professional appearance. As this ball hit forward, Lopez, he's tracked down. Ryden comes with him shoulder to shoulder. And Gerald Flores has been letting them play today.
If you're going to call it that way on both sides, and he's doing that, so fair play to him.
Akale on the left foot, lays it off. And it's Greg Hurst! The Scotsman puts New Mexico ahead in the 83rd minute. And for the second year in a row, Greg Hurst has scored in the home opener. The Scotsman adds his third of the campaign. And New Mexico take the lead late.
Man, the minute he touched it, you knew he wasn't going to miss that one. But that's the player you want and the space that you want. Just a world-class finish by Hurst. And you saw him kind of moving into different spaces and trying to find the ball there, and really smart to unmark himself in the box to get open for that finish.
Another look on this TLC replay. A rocket off the foot of the Scotsman. One times it right into the back of the net. Sebastian Mora rooted to his spot as he can do nothing but just watch the ball ripple the back of the net. Still plenty of time left in this one. Here's Moreno now. El Paso looking for an equalizer. Pondeka has gone down, and Pondeka, he looks to be injured. So 85th minute. Thomas Pondeka, he's going to get some attention from the medical staff here. So he went to ground trying to challenge Moreno as he turned the corner. What a goal from Greg Hurst.
What a goal from Greg Hurst, and what great build-up. Just a little bit of composure in the box, and I think that's what they've been missing the whole game is can you take a deep breath in the box and put it on someone's foot, and if that's whose foot you want it on, Greg Hurst isn't going to miss.
So we'll get another look here at that Greg Hurst goal, his third of the campaign. And as I mentioned, second year in a row, he has opened up the scoring in the home opener. He did so last year against Riverhounds.
And you can see the relief. I mean, the amount of time that these guys have been on the ball and trying to break through, you can see the relief on the New Mexico United players. Just pure joy.
Celebration down in front of the supporters. And this is not looking good for Thomas Pondeca, as it looks to be a shoulder. And so it sounds like El Paso will make a change. Daniel Carter, the 21-year-old Honduras international, he is on. He's making his third appearance of the season. Daniel Carter with 3 caps for the Honduras national team. And you can tell this is not good for Thomas Pondeca. And so we'll take another look here on this replay. It looks like it happened when he slid there, and there you see just it comes up a little lame in the arm, and immediately something was wrong. And so non-contact.
Non-contact. Upper body, which could be a good thing if you're, a footballer, but you never want to see anybody get hurt.
But that's going to force New Mexico into another change, as Pondeca now, he's going to be replaced by Tony Herbert. And so whatever the injury, the severity deemed enough for him not to continue. And so while we've got a moment, let's take a look at some of the matches that are coming up and some of the matches that have gone final here so far. So there was a couple of games played before us. We've got some games coming up here. Kicking off in just a few minutes, actually, on ESPN Plus, Lexington hosting Indy 11. Miami will be hosting Tampa Bay Rowdies in a battle of the 2 Florida clubs there. And then on Golazo, you can flip on over and see Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They're going to be hosting Hartford Athletic. Riverhounds have one of the best match day atmospheres in the USL Championship. So that is Tony Herbert. Beyond, Pondeca's going to be taken off.
It's going to be interesting to see how El Paso responds here now. I mean, you got to get forward. You can't sit in anymore. Are they going to change something tactically and push the numbers forward and try and create some more opportunity?
So the upcoming schedule for New Mexico, as Pondeca had a quick round of applause. There's the upcoming schedule. And so for New Mexico, it is a trip out to Florida, as they're going to be taking on Miami FC. That'll be next Saturday. You can catch that one at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, making the trip up I-25 north to Colorado Springs to play at the beautiful Widener Fields, one of the best stadiums in the USL Championship. And then we're back for 3 in a row right here at the Lab in April. And then you can also anticipate some U.S. Open Cup action likely to take place during that window as well there in late April. And so it's like they say, Coach, they start coming and they don't stop coming.
Exactly. And speaking again to the depth, when those games start coming and you have all these games being played, it's really nice when you can have quality players coming off the bench and rotate your starting lineup as well.
So sending our best to Thomas Pondeca as he is taken off by some of the emergency personnel. On to replace him, Tony Herbert. We're back to it with this corner kick as we enter into second half stoppage time. And with that injury there and the goal that was scored, we're up to 8 minutes of second half stoppage as Fallon Maples able to head that ball away. Second half stoppage time. Brought to you by New Mexico Pinon Coffee, celebrating over 30 years of great coffee since '94. Challenge deemed fair by Zalalem there, and Bruce will win a throw-in. Fans can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157. That is North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk. That's including USL All Access Next Play.
It's just what you've come to expect from Daniel Bruce. He doesn't stop, and he frustrates other people, and you can see them getting frustrated there and giving up a foul, and that's the last thing on earth you want to do is stop the clock and give New Mexico United the ball back.
Ball in a dangerous area at the feet of a dangerous player. Makwele Akale, 4 goals, 5 assists last season for New Mexico. So he's just going to play it over to Talon Maples, who is happy to take that ball to the corner. It's going to be a throw in here for El Paso, able to find Moreno on the run. That was Carter that went down. Bruce now turns. New Mexico have options. Here's Bruce. Daniel Bruce goes down, no foul. Moshoban. Bit of a miscommunication there between Tony Herbert and Sergio Rivas, but Herbert comes up with the big tackle. Here comes Akale. Still Akale, lays it off for Bruce. The official played the advantage, and so no foul being called back. Three out of a minimum of 8 added minutes gone by. An interesting formation change here with that substitution of Tony Herbert. You now see Talon Maples playing right back with Herbert and Ryden paired at the center back.
Yeah, and I think also, Herbert's first touch was a really well-timed slide tackle, so welcome to the game. But that's exactly what you want from players, to feel prepared to come in and know what their role is right off the bat. And the versatility of Maples to go from playing center back all game to locking it down at right back as well.
Makwele Akale shown yellow there. Yellow cards brought to you by the guys at Ferguson Law Firm. Akale was just obstructing the restart. Goes back to Romero. El Paso searching for an equalizer here in second half stoppage. This ball hit long. Balls to Calvillo. Moreno now. Lays it off for Torres. And Torres gets that ball out of play.
You spoke about it earlier, Tyler, but all these games have always kind of had a late game goal. So New Mexico United just wants to slow the clock down, keep the ball, walk away from this with a 1-0 win.
And it was the nickname the Kings of Chaos that was given to New Mexico United by our good friend Duke Keith, who's the play-by-play down in El Paso for the Locos, and that's exactly why it is chaotic, or as Armando Moreno said, hectic.
Hectic, yeah. Neither one of these teams is ever going to stop, and it's part of what makes it a great rivalry. But you can see, El Paso's not turning off, not shutting down. They're going to try and tie this thing up.
A minimum of 8 added minutes here at the end of the 90. Following an injury to Thomas Pondeca. Chris Shakes doesn't look interested in helping his teammates get play resumed.
Yeah, it's New Mexico United's turn a little bit now. I mean, it's all part of the game. Is can you waste a little bit of time and make sure that you deny the other team gaining any momentum?
And it looks like Mackenzie Gaines was shown yellow for the time wasting there. Of course, you can't yellow card Chris Shakes for not helping. He's on the bench, but it is Mackenzie Gaines whose responsibility it is to get over and grab the ball and get play restarted in a timely fashion. So Gaines will be shown yellow. Bit of jostling going on there with Seymour and Carter. New Mexico now on the break. Akale, he has space. Akale, and he was looking to find Bruce. He also had Gaines on the far side. And there's Daniel Bruce applying the pressure, as he so often does. It's something that these New Mexicans have come to appreciate, just the hard work that he puts into every shift on the pitch.
Yeah, without question. And also the hard work he puts into the community. I mean, I bet you most people in here have a picture of Daniel Bruce somewhere. He's just a good guy.
I have one.
I do too.
Here's Zelalem. Still Zelalem. Zelalem. That one just came off his foot. A little sideways there is Almora with a little bit of a pep in his step. And I don't think Gideon Zelalem anticipated being that open at the 18.
No, and it's end of game where you're trying to make a decision of little
bit of a kick out there.
Kick out of the play, yeah.
And we're going to see a red card come out. And now things starting to get heated. A little bit of pushing and shoving. I don't think any more than normal. And so we'll get a replay here as Seymour came in heavily. And then there you see just the kick out on Will Seymour, and that is going to be a red card every single time. As Carter makes the long jog across the pitch. And for the second consecutive time these two teams have met, an El Paso player has seen red in the second half.
Yeah, deserved red. I mean, that's just frustration taking over, but you can't. There's no place for that.
So El Paso.
Everybody's in. Goalkeeper's in. They're going for it.
Down to 10 men here over the final moments of this match.
Maybe not.
And yeah, you said it. Mora thought he was joining the attack, but Romer Cabrera quickly says, hold on. Now, looks like just a quick touch to get things restarted, perhaps get the ball a little bit closer. Rochoban. Cross goes in, and it just goes across the face of goal. And that's the full-time whistle here at the Lab. New Mexico pick up their 7th victory in the Derby del Camino Real with a 1-0 win over their rivals from down south, El Paso Locomotive FC. And it's the Scotsman, who else but Greg Hurst, finding his 3rd goal of the campaign. That's the difference maker. Coach, your thoughts?
Yeah, what a game. And a game that they deserve to win. They dominated possession. You could see just two different styles, and New Mexico United did enough to walk away with the win, and I think it's well-deserved.
Greg Hurst awarded with the play of the match, brought to you by Vara Winery and Distillery for his 83rd minute goal. He's also your man of the match, brought to you by Pepsi. Of course, your save of the match is Alex Tambakis. Tambakis crossing the 20,000 minute mark here today as New Mexico victorious over El Paso. There it is, the New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services save of the match. Alex Tambakis, that 49th minute that he had. We'll go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back to wrap things up. 1-0, your final score.
Mexico Mexico's ultimate game day destination, Sandia Sportsbook. With live wagering 7 days a week, Albuquerque's best sportsbook is ready for action. Bet at Sandia Sportsbook or at kiosk locations on the casino floor. Sandia Sportsbook offers amazing food and drink specials with spectacular views. Sports betting has come to Sandia. Sandia Sportsbook. Game on.
Full time here at the Lab, New Mexico victorious on home soil in their home opener once again as Greg Hurst, the difference maker in the 83rd minute. Your final score, 1-0, brought to you by First Financial Credit Union. Let's go ahead and have a look at our full-time highlights brought to you by Ferguson.
Yeah, you can already see a little bit of jockeying for position, and looks like they're trying to run Maples and potentially Jabang off of a kind of a screen here.
It's Vargas.
Yeah. Yeah, you can already see a little bit of jockeying for position, and looks like they're trying to run Maples and potentially Jabang off of a kind of a screen here.
It's Vargas.
Yeah.
And Mora bobbled it initially, able to secure the ball, and New Mexico.
And potentially Jabang off of a kind of a screen here.
It's Vargas.
Yeah.
And Mora bobbled it initially, able to secure the ball, and New Mexico Still looking for the opener.
Still trying to run Maples and potentially Jabang off of a kind of a screen here.
And it's Vargas.
Yeah.
And Mora bobbled it initially. Able to secure the ball. And New Mexico still looking for the opener.
Maples and potentially Jabang off of a kind of a screen here.
And it's Vargas.
Yeah.
And Mora bobbled it initially. Able to secure the ball. And New Mexico still looking for the opener.
Still looking for it, but sometimes when you have a team with a lot of personality in the attack, which El Paso does have, sometimes you can get lost in transition and you can give up goals, but you can see they're very dedicated to holding that low block.
And a yellow card shown. I believe it was Coronado. Look at
a team with a lot of personality in the attack, which El Paso does have. Sometimes you can get lost in transition and you can give up goals, but you can see they're very dedicated to holding that low block.
And a yellow card shown. I believe it was Coronado. We'll get a confirmation on that. Actually,
I think sometimes when you have a team with a lot of personality in the attack, which El Paso does have, sometimes you can get lost in transition and you can give up goals, but you can see they're very dedicated to holding that low block.
And a yellow card shown. I believe it was Coronado. We'll get a I
think sometimes when you have a team with a lot of personality in the attack, which El Paso does have, sometimes you can get lost in transition and you can give up goals, but you can see they're very dedicated to holding that low block.
And a yellow card shown. I believe it was Coronado. We'll get a confirmation on that. Actually,
it's kind of an opportunity sometimes when you have an injury to adjust things tactically. So we'll see if he's identified something new he wants his team to do coming out of that little break.
Akale with a little stop and go. He draws the foul. And that just goes to show the ability of Makwele Akale.
When you have an injury to adjust things tactically. So we'll see if he's identified something new he wants his team to do coming out of that little break.
Akale with a little stop and go. He draws the foul. And that just goes to show the ability of Makwele.
It's kind of an opportunity sometimes when you have an injury to adjust things tactically. So we'll see if he's identified something new he wants his team to do coming out of that little break.
Akale with a little stop and go. He draws the foul. And that just goes to show the ability.
So we'll see if he's identified something new he wants his team to do coming out of that little break.
Akale with a little stop and go. He draws the foul. And that just goes to show the ability of.
There's no surprise with. No surprise with what New Mexico United is trying to do. They're trying to isolate their two best players in the air and put the ball in their head, and they're getting closer and closer every time here. There's no surprise with. No surprise with what New Mexico United is trying to do. They're trying to isolate their two best players in the air and put the ball in their head, and they're getting closer and closer every time here. There's no surprise with. No surprise with what New Mexico United is trying to do. They're trying to isolate their two best players in the air and put the ball in their head, and they're getting closer and closer every time here.
Both standing over the ball.
There's no surprise with. No surprise with what New Mexico United is trying to do. They're trying to isolate their two best players in the air and put the ball in their head, and they're getting closer and closer every time here.
Paso able to work their way out of trouble. And Jabang now called for the foul, and Jabang will see yellow. 41st minute yellow card for Usman Jabang. Yellow card. Paso able to work their way out of trouble. And Jabang now called for the foul, and Jabang We'll see yellow. 41st minute yellow card for. We'll see yellow. 41st minute yellow card for Ousmane Jabang.
Full ball into the box there. You know Cully's going to want that one back.
And now, this is Avila off to the races. Avila one-on-one. Huge save from Tambakis.
Box there. You know Cully's going to want that one back.
And now, this is Avila off to the races. Avila one-on-one. Huge save from Tambakis.
Into the box there. You know Cully's going to want that one back.
And now, this is Avila off to the races. Avila one-on-one. Huge save from Tambakis.
You know Cully's going to want that one back.
And now, this is Avila off to the races. Avila one-on-one. Huge save from Tambakis. Errant pass goes by Jabang, and now Moreno in space. Moreno! And he just sends it wide as Armando Moreno looking to score against his former club again. Errant pass goes by Jabang, and now Moreno in space. Moreno! And he just sends it wide as Armando Moreno looking to score against his former club again. Errant pass goes by Jabang, and now Moreno in space. Moreno! And he just sends it wide as Armando Moreno looking to score against his former club. Errant pass goes by Jabang, and now Moreno in space. Moreno! And he just sends it wide as Armando Moreno looking to score against his former club again. Fernando goes down, and Gerald Flores heading over to the spot. This is going to be a free kick for New Mexico, and I believe a yellow card coming out. Fernando goes down, and Gerald Flores heading over to the spot. This is going to be a free kick for New Mexico, and I believe a yellow card coming out. Fernando goes down, and Gerald Flores heading over to the spot. This is going to be a free kick for New Mexico, and I believe a yellow card coming out. Fernando goes down, and Gerald Flores heading over to the spot. This is going to be a free kick for New Mexico, and I believe a yellow card coming out. He's on his horse now. Vargas leading the charge. Lays it off. It's Akale. Vargas gets it back. Marlon Vargas. And the shot is blocked by Tony Alfaro. But that, perhaps, he's on his horse now. Vargas leading the charge. Lays it off. It's Akale. Vargas gets it back. Marlon Vargas. And the shot is blocked by Tony Alfaro. But that, perhaps one of the best opportunities by Lindsay. He's on his horse now. Vargas leading the charge. Lays it off. It's Akale. Vargas gets it back. Marlon Vargas. And the shot is blocked by Tony Alfaro. But that, perhaps one of the best. He's on his horse now. Vargas leading the charge. Lays it off. It's Akale. Vargas gets it back. Marlon Vargas. And the shot is blocked by Tony Alfaro. But that, perhaps one of the best.
If you're going to call it that way on both sides, and he's doing that, so fair play to him.
Akale on the left foot, lays it off. And it's Greg Hurst! The Scotsman puts New Mexico ahead in the 83rd minute. And for the second year in a row, Greg Hurst has scored in the home opener.
If you're going to call it that way on both sides, and he's doing that, so fair play to him.
Akale on the left foot, lays it off. And it's Greg Hurst! The Scotsman puts New Mexico ahead in the 83rd minute. And for the second year in a row, Greg Hurst has scored in the home opener.
Call it that way on both sides, and he's doing that, so fair play to him.
Akale on the left foot, lays it off. And it's Greg Hurst! The Scotsman puts New Mexico ahead in the 83rd minute. And for the second year in a row, Greg Hurst has scored in the home opener.
That way on both sides, and he's doing that, so fair play to him.
Akale on the left foot, lays it off. And it's Greg Hurst! The Scotsman puts New Mexico ahead in the 83rd minute. And for the second year in a row, Greg Hurst has scored in the home opener. Talon Maples playing right back with Herbert and Ryden paired at the center back.
Yeah, and I think also, Herbert's first touch was a really well-timed slide tackle, so welcome to the game, but that's exactly what you want from players, to feel prepared to come in and know what their role is right off the bat. And the versatility of Maples to go from playing center back all game to locking it down at right back as well.
Kwele Akale shown yellow there. With Herbert and Ryden paired at the center back.
Yeah, and I think also, Herbert's first touch was a really well-timed slide tackle, so welcome to the game, but that's exactly what you want from players, to feel prepared to come in and know what their role is right off the bat. And the versatility of Maples to go from playing center back all game to locking it down at right back as well.
Kwele Akale shown yellow there. Playing right back with Herbert and Ryden paired at the center back.
Yeah, and I think also, Herbert's first touch was a really well-timed slide tackle, so welcome to the game, but that's exactly what you want from players, to feel prepared to come in and know what their role is right off the bat. And the versatility of Maples to go from playing center back all game to locking it down at right back as well.
Kwele Akale shown yellow there. Playing right back with Herbert and Ryden paired at the center back.
Yeah, and I think also, Herbert's first touch was a really well-timed slide tackle, so welcome to the game, but that's exactly what you want from players, to feel prepared to come in and know what their role is right off the bat. And the versatility of Maples to go from playing center back all game to locking it down at right back as well.
Kwele Akale shown yellow there. I don't think Gideon Zalalem anticipated being that open at the 18.
No, and it's end of game where you're trying to make a decision. A
bit of a kick out there.
Kick out of the play, yeah.
And we're going to see a red card come out. And now things starting to get heated. A little bit of pushing and shoving. I don't think Gideon Zalalem anticipated being that open at the 18.
No, and it's end of game where you're trying to make a decision. A
bit of a kick out there.
Kick out of the play, yeah.
And we're going to see a red card come out. And now things starting to get heated. A little bit of pushing and shoving. I don't think Gideon Zalalem anticipated being that open at the 18.
No, and it's end of game where you're trying to make a decision. A
bit of a kick out there.
Kick out of the play, yeah.
And we're going to see a red card come out. And now things starting to get heated. A little bit of pushing and shoving. I don't think Gideon Zalalem anticipated being that open at the 18.
No, and it's end of game where you're trying to make a decision. A
Bit of a kick out there.
Kick out of the play, yeah.
And we're going to see a red card come out. And now, things starting to get heated. A little bit of pushing and shoving. I don't think.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance offers round-the-clock protection. Get a quote today at progressive.com. This, of course, was a game that was being looked forward to after we found out about the matchup because of the two legendary coaches going head-to-head, Rick Pitino, John Calipari, and Coach Cal now becomes the second coach ever to lead 4 different universities to a Sweet 16. But over on the St. John's end of things, Rick Pitino, after the game, talked about losing to Arkansas.
Well, congratulations, first of all, to Arkansas. As I said earlier, they were very athletic. They played a great game, took away a lot of what we do. Very thankful for these two guys. They were really fun to coach. Kadari didn't play real well because he was in foul trouble. Foul trouble certainly hurt us, but they were the better team. They outplayed us, and they deserve to move on, and we don't. That's what March Madness is all about. Sometimes, no matter how great a regular season you have, you play this way, and you're going to get beat. But I'm very thankful and that I had these two guys on my team. And Arkansas moves on, and we don't.
Yeah, just kind of a coach almost at a loss for words at the way his team ended up playing. Again, they shot under 30% from the field. Gabe Nuts, Ryan Hollins with you. And it was just a tough day offensively. They grabbed a lot of rebounds. They were a physical team, but ultimately just did not have enough offense when they were matched physically by what Arkansas wanted to do to them.
That's a big piece of it, man. You can be as high-powered as you want to be, but if you got a team putting bodies on you and making you have to work for every single shot, you got to be able to win playing different styles. And, that's why they say defense ends up winning championships. Obviously, Golden State changed that a bit in the NBA, but they were still really sound defensively. They don't get enough credit for that. So at the end of the day, defense wins out. That's why, take a look over. There's a team in the tournament that nobody wants to play, Gabe, and I don't know if you're hip to them, but Kelvin Sampson at University of Houston.
No, thank you.
Because they hit the glass. Mm-hmm. They're tough. They will beat you 11-12 if they have to. Okay, so that's a team. University of Houston and Kelvin Sampson kind of builds for these moments. So yeah, he's got that type of thing going over there at U of H, and he's had a ton of success because of it. So I'm interested to see what they end up doing in the tournament, and how that run plays out for them.
One of the things that was questioned and was asked of Rick Pitino, R.J. Lewis Jr., he's the Big East Player of the Year, wasn't in the game a bunch down the stretch as St. John's was trying to come back against Arkansas. Rick Pitino had to answer for that after the game.
Rick, you had R.J. on the bench, for a pretty long stretch at the end. Was that just because
Sweet 16 as a school. Arkansas now 4 of the last 5 years.